Hey everybody, welcome to the Cowboys podcast. My name is Malik Foster, and I'm joined by one of my co-hosts. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course, this is Robert Stevenson. We are sadly missing one of our other normal core hosts, Samantha Adams, but we're getting ready to go ahead and hit you guys with another episode today. Um, if you want to go ahead and let them know what's going on and what we're discussing today.
Yeah, so this week the Federal Trade Commission they ruled that um, non-compete clauses are going to be banned because they feel as though they're going to be they feel as though they're non-competitive. They go against competition, right? So it's not pro competition, it's anti competition. So they're going to be banning them in certain situations. So, like a senior executive at, like, let's say one of these bigger companies and stuff like that, you have a certain type of role that's a certain way in the company. But as far as like an employee, employer general non compete clause, that's going to free up, they say, about 85% of workers and start up over 8,500 new businesses because of the ruling. They said it's going to help increase wages, lower health care costs, boost innovation, and free ideas that'll help boost the economy of the nation. So that's something to really think about as a pro. Obviously, the con is, if you come up with the idea, somebody's working for you, somebody might actually get some inspiration from that and maybe even take potentially some of your ideas. But the Federal Trade Commission said, well, you got your NDAs to protect you, some trade secret laws, patents, other ways of protection. So a non-compete clause, uh, a non-compete agreement isn't necessary anymore. So that's just to open up with that. What do you think? I gave you a little background there.
Absolutely, I think it's definitely a major ruling. What they said it could potentially impact around 18% of the workforce, which is roughly around 30 million people who have normally been subject to these type of regulations, going from anywhere from like fast food and all, as you mentioned, on up to some individuals who have C-suite responsibilities, or corporate, chiefs, financial chiefs, vice presidents, individuals within those roles. Um, I definitely think it was a major ruling by, of course, one of the government agencies, and so I definitely look to see if it's going to go before potentially the Supreme Court if they try to rule as to seeing if FTC has the right to do that, and regulate. I know they have the ability to regulate trade. However, excuse me, uh, regulating all contracts that have already been here. That's something that's already currently in effect. And individuals who, excuse me, who normally would not have been able to um, take opportunities that they now currently will be able to. I think it's a great thing for those individuals. I think it will help spur for better, like you said, better rates, for better um, quality and service that I think that you may be able to get from employers. And I think you might want to look to retain individuals and now that you don't necessarily have on the back end them tied up for however long, so long. You know what I mean? So you may want to look to retain that talent and keep them going. Um, so I think it definitely has a lot of benefits to the workforce, and is shocking to see how this is going to work because again, it's affecting contracts that's currently in place. It's a ruling that's going to affect a lot of things within the workforce as well. And I think it's like monumental to see how this ruling just came down.
Yeah. So I think this is definitely a win for workers and employees because you're able to have other companies that maybe you want to work at, or maybe if you want to start a business or whatever you want to do, people can compete for your services, be for your products, compete for you as a worker, right? So now you're not just tied to one company where they can kind of have you locked in and locked out. So I think that's what the Federal Trade Commission was looking at here. Like, many comments, many complaints of people, thousands and thousands of people being complaining about being locked out, not being able to make any different moves, saying, hey, this is anti-competitive because hey, I want to be able to do something in a similar business and field, but now I can't compete because I signed this agreement. I can't do anything. So it kind of locks you out. And especially if that's something that you've done all your life, but you just want to go a different direction. Maybe the pay wasn't good. Maybe you didn't like working at the company, but you want to go to a different company. Um, so I understand the ruling on that. And I think this is definitely a win for the American worker. So. I think he's having some
Oh
technical
yeah, sorry.
issues.
Yeah,
Okay, there you go.
absolutely. I definitely think it spurs too for more competitiveness and employment, right? Because now you have people who can come from other companies at any point in time. It also helps with recruitment, getting more talented individuals as well that can help the business. Now you can, look to I don't want to say solicit services of individuals that's already employed, but look to be able to bring on maybe
Yeah, they'll be getting
talented
into like a
individuals
bit,
who work,
so to speak.
yeah, who might have worked at a formal company, wanted to take on a different opportunity, and now you have two of their leading competitors that may be bidding for the services as well. So I can see that definitely helping with especially more career-based, high-yield, industries or professions in particular. It'll have a big effect on, but also too, I think it helps people as well because, as we know, at some point in time, within the non-competes, it didn't necessarily ban you from finding a job in the industry at all, but they would have regulations and rulings that they would ask, the courts to look at in determining if it was too restrictive or if it was allowable based on the task that was being done or based on the skill set that the individual was bringing to that company. So I think now that those factors may be leaving, some of the things that we can look at is you can go work for a competitor right around the corner. You might not necessarily have to move across the country now to find a job based on your skill set. You can, maybe go to someone right down the street. And that's going to be interesting to see too. How many people start working someplace and then go to another one, and just to gain some information or whatnot. Like I think it's definitely something that I wonder how it would impact litigation and as far as trade secrets and
Yeah,
individuals maybe taking sensitive information from different companies that they leave from. Of course, we all know that that information is supposed to stay with them, stay with that individual, but things
yeah,
happen, and
yeah. Like the Federal Trade Commission was saying, the FTC was saying that like a lot of businesses they have, recourse via um, the trade secret laws, like I mentioned, and also non-disclosure agreements, right? So certain vital company information, you can't just disclose that. You would sign an NDA, but that shouldn't stop you. What they're trying to say is that shouldn't stop you from being able to compete in that same industry. But obviously, you can't disclose those trade secrets and stuff like that. You understand? But before prior to the FTC's ruling, a person couldn't actually get in that same industry essentially until either the non-compete agreement was up, or they would have had to like maybe compete very far away, or you couldn't do it in the same industry. You had to do something totally different. So it removes those restrictions, and now companies are going to have to actually bid for certain workers and employees in a certain sense that they feel is vital. And the workers will actually have that leverage where they can say, "Hey, I'll go to I'll go to a different company if my wages aren't good." So that's where the FTC is saying, "Hey, wages could possibly be boosted, increase because you have to pay that person to keep them now, or another company might come up under you and swipe that employee that's been very vital to your business, very profitable for you, and stuff like that." So that's something to think about. That's the impact on businesses because they're going to wonder, okay, we have these workers here. We don't want them to go, so now we're going to have to give them better benefits, incentives, better wages, better health care benefits, all that stuff now. So it may cost businesses a little bit in the long run, but I think it's good for the long term for overall both sides because there'll be new ideas, there'll be better competition. It's more of a fairer game, so to speak. Because before, if you just had everything, you can just lock a lot of people out. Now I think the competition, the innovation can be there, the tweaks and stuff like that. So I think this was a good call by the FTC, in my opinion. You wanted to add something else, E?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that, like you said, that this is pretty much going to be interesting task to see. I definitely feel like it also may open up some things. And I think we might want to see what other um, impacts in the labor laws may be affected by either this or if the FTC decides to take a look at other types of encumbrance that have been on workers and look to try to bring about potential changes within the work field in itself. I don't necessarily know if this is opening up some of the um, decisions that maybe the commissioner may look to want to impose moving forward, or what necessarily brought about this particular ruling from the FTC. Besides, like the complaints that we might have mentioned earlier from employers, but for them to actually,
Mm-hmm.
people have been probably complaining about this for decades. So within this timing now, I wonder what's going on with that. And I also think that too, could this also deal with the fact that there has been a shortage in labor? That a lot of individuals speak to, a lot of people, like I said, don't necessarily want to work, aren't maybe necessarily qualified for a lot of certain jobs and positions, and some may feel like the jobs and positions that they are, qualified for aren't necessarily ones that are desirable. So I wonder if this is something that's saying like, listen, in order for us to keep the workforce moving, like we may need talented individuals to be able to be within some of the more powerful companies and not necessarily encumbered by um, these non-complete clauses.
Yeah, that's true. Because now a lot of companies won't be able to hoard a lot of the talent. You'll have to actually actively compete with the talent in terms of the wages, the benefits, incentives, to keep the people and actually, innovate and actually compete as a business instead of, just monopolize the talent, monopolize the business. So I think it's a good thing going forward. Um, and my thoughts are there's more pros and cons. Obviously, the cons is going to be more so for the businesses in terms of how can they keep a lot of their talent in house. How can they keep them from competing essentially? How can they get a strategic advantage? Because this is all a game, right? And everybody's trying to gain an edge and trying to gain an advantage. So I think that's might be where a lot of the problems come. But like the FTC said, um, businesses do have some sort of way to combat some of these things through trade secret laws and non-disclosure agreements.
No, absolutely. Like I said, I definitely think that it's interesting, and I want to see exactly what other things that we may also can see coming from, if not the FTC or other agencies of the government, they may be looking to make some type of changes to the workforce, because we're all very interested in that. You know what I'm saying? Looking to see how that changes. Again, we got the boomers that's getting ready to be retiring soon. So a lot of the workforce has been downsizing in some senses. So how do we find, individuals who will be able to continue to work and continue to stay employed and keep things functioning as, a large percentage of the population starts to move away from the workforce?
Yeah, I believe also this should be effective in the next, I said 120 days after it hits the federal registry. So I guess in the next 4 months or so, it should be uh, in effect, and all of those non-competes will be null and void. Well, most of them, not all of them, but they said about 85% probably be voided and banned. Some of them will be kept, like we mentioned about senior officials and executives of certain big companies and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, that's basically it. That kind of explains, the rationale, some of our thoughts behind the ban. We're curious about what you think if you're into business or not into business. What do you think about the ban on non-compete clauses? I know some people have them, some people don't. Some people like them, some people don't. So, curious to hear about your opinion about non-compete clauses and this whole competition thing that the FTC just ruled on. You want to go into our book of the month?
Absolutely. So this month's book of the month is 48 Laws of Hustling by Ricky St. Julian II. Again, this is just a book that looks to talk about using looking to bring principles of universal principles to business. And then also we have the Black Business of the Month, which is Busy Bees Cafe, which is located at 810 MLK Drive in Southwest Atlanta, Georgia. Um, you guys can check that place out. That's our business of the month, and then we just want to go with the motivational minute.
Yeah, yeah. I'm about to bring up my quote right now for you guys. So the quote I have for you guys today is motivational minute for you guys is I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions. So, and that's a quote by Stephen Covey. And the reason why this quote kind of speaks to the topic today is because, as a worker, as an employee, you are a product of your decision, and you should be able to decide whether you want to stay at this job or decide to maybe even open up your own business and compete with another business, a rival business. You shouldn't be forced to essentially be in a chokehold where you can't really move too much due to these non-compete clauses that are now banned. So that's why I think this is a good quote for this particular topic today. So that is our motivational minute. Once again, the quote is I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions. So it's your choice for you to decide on how you want your life to go. So with that being said, that is the motivational minute. That is our show for today. I want to thank you guys for listening and tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Um, we'll also have another show next week for you guys to check out. Might be all three of us here. If not, I believe me, you'll hold it down, if anything. So, you got any last words, E?
Not at all. All right, see you guys. I hope y'all have a good one. Appreciate everybody who checks it out. Lee, I'll see you guys later. Appreciate y'all. Y'all can catch us every week. You guys know where you guys can contact us at. Me at that guy 2104 on Instagram or CP underscore EV rather. And then you also can find us on Counterpoints Pod on Instagram as well. And here on YouTube.
Right. And you can find me at Malik M. Foster on all my social media handles or Malik underscore Counterboys for my Counterboys. Love you guys and thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.